Welcome everyone to ThursdAI for May 29th. This is Alex Volkov. Guys, I need you on mute when you type Nisten specifically. Welcome everyone to ThursdAI. Today's May 29th. My name is Alex Volkov. I'm an AI evangelist with Weights and Biases, and we're here, at least I'm here. My co-hosts are as well remote, but at least I'm here at the Fontainebleau Hotel Vegas at this conference called Imagine AI. And yeah, I'm very excited to bring you the podcast right from here. This is pretty cool. We got a studio set up, and hopefully everybody on the Twitter space can hear everything. We're also live on Twitter. We're live on YouTube, on LinkedIn. If you can't hear any part of the show, just jump on the YouTube space. Hopefully this will be fine. With me today, we have all the regular friends. We have Wolfram all the way away from Germany. We have Jan Peleg and Nisten.
Hi.
We have like a bunch of things to talk about. How are you guys doing? Wolfram, how are you doing, man?
I'm fine. I'm so happy to be back on the show after 2 weeks in conferences in Germany. So I'm happy to be here now. I'm not in Vegas, unfortunately, but I'm joining from here.
We did see you. You jumped into the live stream of Cloud Opus 4 while you were here. Yeah, for just like a little bit. And then we need to talk to you about Cloud Opus 4 and like how your experience with this as well. So that's great to have you. Nisten, how have you been? How was your AI week? A very chill one for us for now.
I was super busy just launching 2 different entire things. I won't talk about them yet. But yeah, I've been really liking DevStraw. I'm trying to take the entire workflow of like Codex and Cloud Code and actually make it into something reliable. So, as in like open source reliable.
We need to work on that. We need to work on that.
Because like one change and it's like poof, it doesn't work anymore.
I have a lot of this. I have a lot.
I could talk about this all day.
No. I mean, I have a lot like substance, like code and so on. I mean, I have something.
Okay. I think I know exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, folks. And then we're also introducing Jan Peleg, and we're gonna have another guest join us. Jan Peleg, welcome. What's up, Jan? How's been your week?
Happy DeepSeek Day to those who celebrate.
That's true. It's DeepSeek Day today. That's true. Yeah, that's right. DeepSeek Day, absolutely. We're going to have to mention the latest release of DeepSeek. And then while we get going, folks, just to make sure, folks on Twitter space, could you please let us know if you can hear the guests? If you can hear Nisten and Yam and Wolfram, or only you can hear me. That'd be great if you put it in a comment so we'd know and that we're all set up for you and everything works. That's going to be great. We also have another person joining us in real time, so we're going to be able to add them as well. With that said, folks, this week has been lower on the volume compared to last week. And last week, I really hope that most weeks will not be as busy as last week. But we should at least mention some of the things that last week brought us, because it was absolutely incredible. And it's only been a week since Cloud Opus 4 released. It was released almost exactly a week ago. Like we did the live stream on stage. There was also Google I/O released like a bunch of stuff with VO3. That's been blowing up like crazy. We're going to talk about like how much VO3 did blow up. Like OpenAI released Codex. There's like 5 AI editors right now. Jules, Codex. We're going to talk like about all of them as well on the show. And I think it's time for us to actually get started with the TLDR. We had some feedback from folks about the TLDR getting longer, so I'm going to try to... Don't worry, this week there's not that many news. There's some amount, so I'll just run through them super quick, and then we will not have discussions like during the TLDR, like folks said, and then we're going to just jump into open source and discuss DeepSeek as much as possible, as much as we have details. I don't think we have like a lot of details yet, and then we're going to jump in. And then I'll also introduce another friend, guest of mine, Linus, who's like setting up, and he's going to join us right over there. Yeah. Nathan, could you give us this camera for just a minute? Yeah. Let's see. There you go. Folks, introducing another friend of mine here. We're working with multiple cameras. This is new for us. This is Linus Eckenstam. Linus, what's up, man? Welcome.
How you doing?
How you doing, man? Hopefully you guys can hear Linus as well. Linus is a keynote speaker at this Imagine AI conference as well, a creator. Here's the guests as well. You may not be able to hear them, so you probably over there. And Linus, we would love to chat with you about all of the AI creation tools that we got last week as well.
Amazing.
Like VO3 and like a bunch of stuff. So this is going to be our chat of the show. So I think with that, folks, we'll start with the TLDR as we usually do, and then we'll jump into open source. And after open source, we also have another guest joining the stream. Could you give me that one? Thank you. All right, folks, this is TLDR. This is everything that we're going to chat about on the show for May 29th, ThursdAI. And I don't have a musical transition, but let's go. So we just saw yesterday a new release from DeepSeek R1. DeepSeek, the Chinese big whale company. This is an updated R1 0528. They also released just now, somebody sent me like a smaller version of this, a Quen-based version of this. We will definitely discuss what this means, and some folks have been already able to try this. There's this paper called Learning to Reason Without External Rewards that I've seen my whole timeline talk about, and they did some very interesting things. Basically try to train Quen, I believe, without verifying the rewards, and they saw improvements still. Yam and Nisten would love to chat with you about this because that like broke my brain why this works. We also have friends at Haze Labs. Haze Labs is a company that's focused on LLM as a judge and different things. They trained very small open source reward models, J1 Nano, J1 Micro, and they trained them like very cheaply. So we definitely should mention this. I believe that this is most of the open source LLM news that we have for this week. Not a huge week. DeepSeek chose the right week to release. In the big companies,
Mistral.
what do we have for Mistral that's open source?
We have the agent from Mistral.
The agent SDK, yeah, I have it here, Agents API. In the big companies, LLMs and APIs, we have Cloud Opus hitting #1 on the LM web dev arena. Web dev is where a lot of people try to create different things with AI models, and then they actually see this in the editor. And so Cloud Opus takes place #1. Specifically, also a new LM arena launched. We talked briefly about this. Maybe we should mention this here. They raised a $100 million seed last week. And so with the seed, they released like a rebrand as well. And so LM Arena now looks a little bit different, and Claude takes #1 there. Mistral released an agents API to build custom agents. It looks like they're focusing on like a dev tool company, while also releasing another state-of-the-art. None of this looks like to be open source. Mistral released embed state-of-the-art, or at least what they call a state of embedding. So we should mention this as well. One thing that I wanted to show you, I may not be able to, but maybe my host can. OpenAI Advanced Voice Mode model finally syncs. I don't know if you had a chance to look at this, Linus.
I'm so behind on what I'm listening into on the
Oh, you have a delay.
and I'm like, how am I going to be able to talk?
I think
like,
when we talk, we'll just talk, man.
I'm gonna stop the volume here.
Yeah.
Just so I can talk to you.
OpenAI Advanced Voice Mode, as we talked to you guys, did not sing. I actually asked Sam Altman about this, I told you, and it looks like they released that thing. You can ask it to sing opera, you can ask it to sing like Mariah Carey songs, it's pretty cool. And I think the last one, also voice related, Anthropic released, go ahead.
No, fine.
Oh, good. Anthropic released voice mode on mobile. So Anthropic has like a beta thing that you can talk to it as well. So this is, I think, in big companies and APIs, that's like the main stuff. It looks like everybody's quiet after the releases of last week. All right, moving on to this week's Buzz, folks. This week's Buzz is the category where I give you updates about everything that happens in the world of weights and biases and kind of the things that I do. So 3 updates for you super quick. As the folks who are on the stream can see on the bottom, our Fully Connected conference, Fully Connected, is running out of places, but you still can grab the promo code WB ThursdAI and join us June 18th and 19th in San Francisco with a bunch of speakers. I really invite you to be there. It's going to be an awesome conference. The AI Engineer Conference is next week. And Yam's gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. We're gonna do another live show. It's gonna be super cool. And I still have a way to invite you. That one is live streamed as well. So if you do want to join the live stream, I believe you can grab our coupon as well. Thanks ThursdAI. I'll put this in the show notes as well. Thank you, Swix, for the show notes. I'm really excited about that one. We need to figure out the thing. And another update is this: Imagine AI. We're here. This is Imagine AI, me and Linus. Linus is keynote speaker. I'm going just after you as well. And you can see this one is not live streamed, so you guys will not be able to tune in today or tomorrow, but the recordings will be.
Yep.
And so we'll be posting the recordings of this Imagine AI live. And for the next one, it should definitely come out because Fontainebleau in Vegas is incredible. It looks everything brand new, and there's, I don't know, 500 people in the audience. They're going to come and check us out. Moving on to vision and video category, folks, we're almost through the TLDR. And I would love to chat with you about this, Linus. Prompt theory is doing viral, crazy things. VO3 generated people who think they're only prompts, and they're rebelling against this. Basically, since last week, since we talked about VO3 from Google, it's been blowing up like crazy. We'd love to hear how your experiences with this as well.
We raised the floor, that's for sure. Like if we compare to what we could do with DALL-E when DALL-E came out, or DALL-E 1, and now we're looking at like where we are with video. It's just
so definitely
it's crazy.
Dive into this once we get to vision and video. Also, Linus, talk to me about this. Odyssey launched interactive video as well, very similar to like World Sim from Fei Li, World Labs. So you can like control. This is interactive video that you can control from Odyssey Labs, kind of like a real-time holodeck thingy. It's super, super cool. And also, Wolfram, we should talk about the two animated things. Hunyuan, do you guys know from HY Video, released open source, two animated avatar open source frameworks. One of them is Hunyuan Portrait, and the other one is Hunyuan Avatar. And we definitely should talk about the difference between them. But basically, Tencent is the company, the huge Chinese company behind both of them, gave us high fidelity portrait video, very similar to like Hedra and HeyGen. So now we have HY Portrait as well. So definitely we should cover those as well. Voice and audio, also very interesting thing. So in addition to the fact that, you know, OpenAI's advanced voice mode can sing, we have an update from Qt AI with Mochi. So they released something called unmute.sh, and they're planning to release the whole stack. And that actually sounds super, super cool. We could play this for you guys as well on the show. And also, there's an open source release from a company called Chatterbox, Resemble AI's Chatterbox, also open sourced a voice agent framework with zero-shot cloning from just 5 seconds of audio. So stuff is happening in the voice audio category as well. And I would say the last thing in tools is Opera decided to announce its Opera. For those of you who don't know what Opera is, because it's been a while since Opera has meant anything. Opera is a browser company, and they had a decent chance at trying to grab the browser wars. Their announced Neon, which is an agent-centric AI browser announcement, and this is kind of the third AI browser that I know of that's planned to be released. Perplexity is working on one, I think Comet, and definitely Arc, the Arc browser from the browser company in Hawaii, is working on Dia. So there's like a few browsers happening in the AI space, and Opera announced their one, and we're going to chat about that one. Also, Factory released something like a Droid coding agent, and I've seen like 5 coding agents last week. Jules, Codex, we had another Copilot agents as well, and now this one was announced. They reached out to pretty much every creator that I know, including me. I haven't had a chance to run with this too much, but I did run this on my computer. I did like do a couple of things. So Factory announced like some tool, one or other, and I think the last one that I want to talk about is Open Router and Token Monster. Open Router has OAuth access. Nisten, that will cover this with you. Folks, this is my TLDR. I hope that I ran through this like super quick, because now we should start with open source. Let's start with open source. But before we start with open source, I want to introduce another friend of ours that joins the stage, Charlie Holtz. Welcome, Charlie.
Hello.
Mic check. Linus, you'll be able to see them here as well. All right, folks, I think it's time. Anything else that I missed? By the way, folks in the comments, please leave comments. And folks on stage, anything important from this week that I've missed? it didn't seem like a huge week for releases, which is good because we maybe actually have time to dive into things. Got all of it?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, cool. So I think we can get started with open source. Where's my open source? Let's go, open source AI. Open source AI, let's get it started.
The delay is insane.
We're just gonna talk when you and I are talking. All right, folks. We're back in the open source, and I think, Yam, I think you broke the news from DeepSeek. Let's do it. I'll let you handle the news. Yeah.
Okay, so DeepSeek dropped another one. As the last one, it is also an extremely good model, aiming for O3 and Gemini and the top of the leaderboards. An incredible model. We only have it for a couple of hours, so it's hard to tell. From first-hand experience what I think about it. But yeah, absolutely. Probably among the best open weight models to date, just like the last one. Might be the best, but I want to check before I'm saying. There were some theories that this model should have been R2 and not another improved version of R1. I don't know if we have any information to support this, but yeah, this is the situation. We have another one from DeepSeek.
You can hear Yam.
Probably among the best open weight models to date, and as always.
So, unfortunately, it seems like, folks, apologies for the hot mic, but also it seems like, Yam, the folks on X didn't hear you. So I'll announce the announcement, but I will say the folks who are listening on X, I really apologize for the technical issues. You should be able to catch us on YouTube. I'm going to add this link right now, and there you can catch all of us, or on Twitter or on X videos as well. So I'm going to share this to the space. So if you join via the Twitter video, you'd be able to hear all our speakers and not only myself, and we will sort out the next one. Yeah, Yam's announcement that folks may have missed is that DeepSeek released a new version of DeepSeek R1 528, and as always, it just appeared on the hub, just out of nowhere. I think they did an announcement today, right? They eventually did do an announcement today, and 528. I've seen some folks like already putting this on inference servers, and I've seen some reactions that this feels like a good model, though I don't know if this is like, people were expecting a DeepSeek. Yam, you also mentioned something I would love to chat about and hear from you guys as well. There were rumors that this is supposed DeepSeek 2, and they maybe didn't hit something. Yam, I hear those rumors all the time. I hear those rumors about GPT 4.5. That somebody said that maybe this was supposed to be 5. About Cloud Opus, there was something. I actually don't know. But have you guys had a chance to test the new DeepSeek yet? Because I also saw another release of like a distilled version for Quen as well.
Yeah, they released an 8B model. You can, for those that don't know, you can run 8B models on your laptop at home. And you don't need the most powerful laptop on Earth to do it. Like, you can probably run it at home decently, and it is so far it seems to be like the best 8B model out there. And the way they did it is they simply distilled the reasoning tokens from the big DeepSeek model and just use them to enhance Quen 3. And they just dropped it like out of the blue, dropping the best models here and there, and just not saying anything pretty much.
Yeah. The whale resurfaces, puts a model out.
Yeah, it's up on Olama. You can try it on Olama. Absolutely.
Yep. Olama, and I have a few more links. So in the folks who are missing any part of the show, we'll have links to the releases that we talked about. So
I tried it, but
go ahead.
I didn't try the 8. Yeah, I didn't try the 8B. I tried the big one. The reasoning before was look, overall, the models, they like to ramble a little bit. Like the yogurt likes to vibe around, and then like it explores that latent space, and then usually that comes up with a better answer. And this is also probably why even doing random rewards during reinforcement learning actually improves performance, because it's just rambling around, like it's just exploring the space, and then it just makes up its mind.
There's a lot to talk about this. A lot to talk about this.
Yeah. Okay, but so I found the reasoning traces to be a lot more well formatted for DeepSeek, and I didn't thoroughly test it. Search was good; it was pretty good. It was a bit too. It wasn't writing as long answers as I liked before, but I didn't do a test in terms of it finding bugs and stuff in the code. I did give it some hard ones, and I would say, yeah, it is pretty up there with O4 Mini and the other ones. So it probably can vibe code, but we'll see if it can vibe code well and solve problems. Because R1 was so far like the only one that was like really good at solving issues, like not necessarily starting the app, but actually at solving issues was pretty good. So I'm gonna test that.
R1, the original, is a great model. There is
the
space on Hugging Face, one of the most popular spaces all around the world for generating websites from prompts. And there is a reason it is so popular. It really makes good websites, out of a single prompt.
So for vibe coding, you mean specifically R1?
Yeah, I'll tell you the name of the space. It's one of the most popular spaces on all of Hugging Face for generating websites. I think it's called, let me just tell you.
Yeah, it was by that one person. That's a very good space, actually. It's like a very well made little app there.
Yeah. It's a really good space, but the point is that it's not just a good space. It's powered by DeepSight. Anyone may want to try it, just go to Hugging Face DeepSight, search it, and it basically generates whatever website that you want ready, like out of just like that, ready for you to explore and play with DeepSeek, pretty much from a single prompt. It's amazing, seriously. So
I see I see Wolfram, you posted the link to the actual model card that they updated, all right, as well. Wolfram, would you be able to help out and kind of show the eval? It looks like they posted some scores as well.
It's finally there, yeah. By the way, I already, when it came out, I did an eval myself. I can't run it locally, so I was using the Fireworks API, and it was right up there with the R1 model. So still about the best you can have as a local and open model. So that was really excellent. If you want to open the page, we can look at the model card. I just noticed that it's there now because I've been reloading the page and it wasn't there.
It's 10 points higher on GPQA Diamond though, and that's an important benchmark. So a lot of the other stuff, it looks about, and it's also 10 points higher on Live Code Bench. It's getting 73 on that, but SW verified is 57. Okay, it can vibe code.
Nisten, you said SWE-bench verified is 57?
Yeah, 57.6, and Aider Polyglot is 71.6.
I mean, for open source, that's great, but for like main models, that's nowhere near like the reasoning models, right? Like the top ones, like Claude, we got to almost 80, something, 82%.
I mean, you could probably replace Gemini with it, not for the context window, but for the maybe
it's a wrong thing to say. Replace Gemini,
I have found R1 to actually like be smarter when it comes to web dev stuff and not suggest stupid.
Anyone listening, the best trick in the world, if you don't know this, you can use R1, the original, probably also the new one, the reasoning tokens with every single model, and it probably, like nearly all the time, it improves the performance. Just take the reasoning tokens themselves, give them to Claude, and you're pretty much guaranteed to get a better answer. It's something that works. So I'm just putting it out there for you guys to try out. Anyway, Alex, can you hear us?
Alrighty, folks. Yeah, I can hear you as well.
All
The thing that I wanted to show, I'm trying to show this as well, is the model card and some evals, but I'm having trouble with this.
I think the real coding one, I think is going to be Quen 3 coder whenever that one.
Quen 3
comes out.
coder.
Yeah, that's probably.
Hi, folks. I think there was a lot of excitement for the R1 model. For now, this didn't hit as hard as kind of we expected the next release from R1, as far as I see. But we have a few of the benches here. AIME at 91, comparing themselves to OpenAI 03. Oh, that's kind of crazy, right? They show
jump.
that they're like beating big jump as well. Where's the previous DeepSeek R1? Is this one?
Look,
79?
there are large jumps, like nearly 20% on Ada Polyglot and 12 and 80% better on math in two different benchmarks, and there are jumps in performance, no doubt. It's just that we're all used to the entire stock exchange crushing when DeepSeek is the thing.
When DeepSeek drops, yes.
Yeah, so this is what we expected, and it didn't crush yet. So but it's a good model, absolutely. There's no denying.
It's good model, sir. We have a few folks like
Good model.
Kalamazi and like some other folks. It's good model, sir. They say this excellent. DeepSeek always like DeepSeek does like a lot of cool stuff. Folks, we're moving on to the next thing, kind of in open source, but like in models. This one, learning to reason without external rewards. There's this paper that was released.
It's going hot.
Yeah, I've seen everybody in my timeline talk about this, Yam. Like literally everybody who does RL, folks from OpenPipe, people who just like do training for models, fine tuning for models. I don't know if this is also your experience, but it looks like everybody had a comment or one of another. This paper basically talked about learning to reason without external rewards. As we know, we had Nathan Lambert here as well. For reinforcement learning, you need some kind of reward for the model to like optimize for, and this paper basically, folks, they said that you don't really need. So I think this is as much as I understood from paper. I would love for you folks to just like tell people what this paper is about. Nisten, I don't know if you had a chance as well, but Yam, this is a Yam question.
Okay, reinforcement learning. Models learning from reward, thumbs up, thumbs down when it does something you like or doesn't like. I don't know, beat a game of chess. It's good. You want to do that. But you don't train them on exactly what to do on each step. That's pretty much the difference. Well, it turns out that some models, you don't even need to give the rewards for anything meaningful. It can be just random, meaning it makes no sense. But all of a sudden, the results show that for some models, it improves the model by a lot. It's an extremely interesting paper. I mean, shout out to the authors for even coming up with this, for even trying to check something like this. Okay, just the explanation in general is that the information is already inside the model to begin with. Like this is like, what you wanted to emphasize is already inside the model, and the setup itself, apart from the rewards, like the setup itself is amplifying those specific skills in some models, which statistically also in turn translate to being better on some benchmarks. I mean, it's because the model is extremely pre-trained before you even start, but go read the paper. It's a fascinating paper, and there is a reason everyone was talking about this, because reinforcement learning, you need the reinforcement. How come you can just use wrong reinforcement and it still works? It makes no sense. So, but yeah, really interesting. Seriously.
Nisten, would love to hear if you had comments on this as well. But the only thing that this connected with me as a metaphor for folks who don't do any machine learning or reinforcement learning is how they do placebo control studies, and for many people they give the drug, and for some people they don't give the drug and they still get better, or they report better symptoms. This to me feels like that thing for AI. Literally they trained the model, they didn't tell it what is good or not, and it still improved. So I'm like, what
placebo for AI. That is RL placebo. That's a good term. Yeah, it's exactly.
That's how it felt.
Exactly
it's so weird. Why would it improve? It doesn't know what the reward was. So very interesting paper. I will add this to the show notes as well, folks. Any other comments on this phenomenon that we're seeing?
I'm not that surprised, to be honest. I was doing quite a few GRPO runs, and even if you just like cut off the length.
Listen, GRPO just a super
group relative policy optimization. So you have
that's
it.
The kind of
everyone uses this for.
This actually came from DeepSeek as a method. It was a few devs that had left DeepSeek, went to another company, and then we all got it. But so it just generates a whole bunch of alternative questions answers, and then it tries to grab some of the logits and distribution and try to shove them back in the model. But it is reinforcement learning. The model is talking stuff, and then it's putting it back in. And the reason they were surprised was that just giving it random rewards, the rewards are like which ones matter out of the rambling that it did. Even if you just chose it all randomly, it still improved the model. And my guess,
Bro, there is a chess game. The reward is you want to win, okay? Imagine this. Turns out that if you don't want to win, you just give rewards out of the blue. I mean, I'm absolutely simplifying this. Turns out the model wins more.
The model gets better at chess by not knowing.
Yeah, this is the level of,
Let me repeat what you're saying.
With itself.
It turns out that the model that learns to play chess without knowing how the game is won or where the checkmate is happening still gets better at chess without knowing what checkmate is.
I'm just saying it will not really work on chess. It's just a metaphor, okay? So for everyone to know, it's not really on chess. Just, to give a perspective, But it's crazy.
It's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. So we'll add the link to the model. Like the thing that is like people trust these folks for research, but like we'll have to see if this replicates as well. But everybody is definitely covering this as well. Any other comments on this before we move on, folks? Super quick.
I think that just fair to say it doesn't work with every model. So like at the start, it really depends on what the model comes with. So it's not magic at the end. Okay, there are explanations for this, and I mean, extremely interesting, and we need to see how it plays out in the future, pretty much.
Alrighty, folks. I think the last thing that I wanted to mention in the open source before we move and talk about Opus and different things, and we introduced chat with Charlie as well, is this Haze Lab released to J1 Nano and J1 Micro, 600 million and 1.7 billion parameters reward models. Reward models specific, they're like different types. It's not just LLMs. They trained under a day on a single A100. I think that this is like the highlight there with a self-principal critique tuning, and I think these reward models are they're using GPR variant called SPCT that I honestly haven't heard before, self-principal critique tuning, and then they reward bench. Maybe we can talk about reward models, basically kind of similar to what we just talked about in the RL, like models that are focused on like measuring and giving out rewards. They come close to like the big companies with a very small reward model.
But we don't know the other, like what are like the main benchmarks. Did it improve on the main ones? I don't know.
So they have like, this is the information that I have, like they have a base, it looks like a fine-tune of Quen, the 600 billion parameter. Without this like reward modeling, they get 0 on baseline contrast. I don't know if that how should I say? I don't know if this is like a main achievement. Definitely know like training them under a single day. It's super cool. And I will have the Haze Labs folks. We actually had Leonard, guys. You remember Leonard from Haze Labs? They do adversarial testing on the show. We should bring them to talk about these models. I think that's mostly it in open source. Fairly quiet week as well. Folks, it's time to go into big companies and APIs because, again, maybe the reason why everything was so quiet this week, also in open source, is we got multiple releases last week. And I think the main one that we celebrated live on the show, but we didn't have a chance to test. Like we just celebrated this and we're happy. It was Cloud Opus 4. And I would love to chat about like how everybody received Cloud Opus 4. Could you give us... with the folks that we have here on stage, and I want to reintroduce my guests here joining us in addition to the co-hosts. So first of all, Charlie, welcome. You haven't been on the show. This, I believe, is your first time. Feel free to briefly introduce yourself.
Yeah, well, yeah. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here. I definitely tune in quite often. So yeah, it's awesome to be here. My name is Charlie, and I am working on a app called Chorus, which is, you can think of it like the ChatGPT app, but you can talk to all the models all at once. And we put in a bunch of keyboard shortcuts. We want to make it feel like a raycast or linear type experience. And yeah, I've been having a ton of fun. I can go into my thoughts on Opus after Linus introduces himself. But yeah, I've been having a ton of fun playing around with these new models.
Yeah. So thanks, Charlie. It's great to have you here. Would love to chat with you. I've been using Chorus. Also, would love to highlight just because it's like incredible to see all the models as well, including when you compare new models to previous ones. You really want to see this like side by side. The comparison mode is great. And the other speaker that joined us is Linus Eckenstam. Linus, welcome, man. How are you? We already introduced you at the beginning of the show, but like some folks couldn't hear you well. So welcome, man. You've been all around lately. Could you introduce for folks who don't know who you are and what you do? Just introduce yourself briefly.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm an avid listener. I don't listen every week, but I listen whenever I can. My name is Linus, and I cover AI and tech basically here on X, but also on my newsletter and on other sources. And right now I'm on a tour. I'm doing a bit of public speaking. I've just hosted a conference in San Francisco, a generative AI conference, together with FreePick. And now I'm here in Las Vegas at the Imagine AI Live.
And So I think the reason, Linus, I called you on here, we're also going to talk about like the creative stuff, and Charlie as well. Last week looked like an insane week for like AI releases, and I think like it ended with a highlight, but also there's like multiple highlights during the week from Google I/O and like a little bit before. So we can talk about the coding stuff, but reception of Cloud Opus, I think from folks on stage as well. Charlie, we'll start with you maybe because like you're working on an app, you had to integrate this like super quick. What's your like takeaways right now from Opus and maybe Sonnet as well from 4?
So the first thing I'd say is like I have to just like keep reminding myself how crazy of a world it is that we live in, where it's like every couple of weeks or months this like new alien lands on Earth, and it's like has a new kind of intelligence, and it's like each one is a little different, and we have to like figure out new ways of interacting with it, and it's all like programmatic, so like we can talk to it through an API as well as like through an app. Like that's just like an insane world. It's like kind of have to keep reminding myself like that is reality, because the ground is like just like moving under our feet constantly. That's the first thing I'd say. Second thing I'd say is something like my co-founder always says when a new model comes out, which is that he's like judging the vibes of each model when they come out is like our form of astrology. It's like for people like in our circles on Twitter, it's kind of astrology. It's like, oh, this one's like good at creative writing. This one's like better at coding. Like it's like I can feel it. Like it feels like Opus 4 is a step change, and I can explain why. But it is kind of astrology. Like I couldn't really prove to you that like Opus 4 is a step change from 03 or 04 Mini, for example. But it kind of feels like it is. And I don't really notice it in like my day-to-day chatting. And I have a couple of thoughts on why that is. But using it in Claude Code is actually really amazing. Like there are a couple of problems where 2 weeks ago, Claude Code couldn't solve it. And now 2 weeks later, I can throw the same problem in. I can throw the same GitHub issue in, and Opus 4 I don't know if it's Opus 4 specifically or the blend of Opus 4 planning and then Sonnet 4 implementing, but like the releases last week really like feel like a step change. Another coworker I was talking to was saying he's like, last weekend I vibe coded 3 websites in a weekend using Opus 4, and like that is a step change. Like those are ideas he had like he's had for a while, and like now he can just like do it in a weekend.
Can you share about the use case? I mean, it's really interesting what you're saying, that you have a specific use case where Opus clearly can solve it, but a week before, none of them could. So if you can share, it's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually just like little things. It's like GitHub issues where we've been like, okay, let's try making. I'm trying to think of an example. Like, there's in Chorus, we just added projects, and we have this feature where you can like move the chat that is not in a project into a project. And and this is not, it's not actually like, it's not technically that difficult, but it does involve a lot of moving parts across multiple areas in the code base.
Oh yeah,
And
it's hard.
just like it can just Opus 4 just like handled it like it was nothing. Whereas 2 weeks ago I tried to get it to implement like a similar thing, and it kind of struggled. It needed like, it got to the point where it was like better for me to just do it myself or do most of the work. Whereas like and now I feel like I can trust Opus to do most of the work. And I actually think that's like the main difference, the main like mental thing switch that changes for me when a better model comes out is like, I just trust it like an inch or like a couple inches more. And like that actually builds like that, like that's what guides.
Charlie, I do have a reaction to the astrology comment that you said at this conference yesterday. We chatted with a bunch of folks, and they literally this is not a developer conference, right? Like unlike an engineer, maybe unlike the stuff lines that you went to in San Francisco, we're kind of outside the bubble, and so people here do ask us like, hey, what's the best model? They don't approach this question from the perspective of what is the best model for code, what is the best model for creative writing, what is the best model for like this in this use case. And when I try to tell them like, hey, it depends on the task that you wanted to do, they felt like I'm like ignoring the question. They seem like the folks are not like super technical. They want like an answer like, hey, what is the best like LLM? But I think Charlie, like to your comment, it does get to a point like for most of us now, like Wolfram, Nisten as well, we're now kind of juggling with this like tool set of multiple things, and some things are better for some things. And not only this, it looks like Anthropic is leaning into this. Like it looks like Anthropic specifically is saying, hey, we don't really care about like number one on the LM arena anymore. Opus is not like, Opus didn't come out swinging, right? Like Gemini cares about LM arena, folks. Like Gemini folks, if Logan releases a new model and that's not on top of LM arena, they're not going to release this, right? But Anthropic seems to have stopped caring about kind of the race, and they're focusing on coding, specifically via MCP, Cloud Code. Cloud Code is incredible on its own. Like I think we should absolutely talk about this. I had experience with Cloud Code. Yeah, I know you're a big believer as well. And it looks like Anthropic is just like, hey, we're gonna do this thing for us as well. And although they do release like the some consumer stuff in the Cloud.ai app, like web search and like different things. So they do kind of focus on that segment, but not as much. It looks like developer focused nearly entirely. The one interesting thing here, I had to comment this. I had to add this because come on, Anthropic, like this is not the coolest game. So we know that Cursor is there, and they released the integration with like IDEs, and we also know that Windsurf was bought by OpenAI for $3 billion or so. Windsurf did not get access to Cloud Opus 4 as it came out. I don't know if you guys saw this on the timeline. Varun, the CEO from Windsurf, basically said, hey folks, we didn't get access or even pre-access. You know, sometimes these IDs get like a little bit behind the scenes with an embargo, like, hey, here you go, you should implement this, but like you won't be able to tell people until launch day. Windsurf did not.
What about Cursor? What about Cursor? It's just
Cursor,
Windsurf?
of course, immediately. Cursor dropped like
but
first second.
it was very rate limited on. Like you couldn't even use Opus 4.
Yeah, the rate limit is a separate issue. We can talk about Anthropic. They release a model and they don't have GPUs to cover all of us, and like everybody's sad and like it's slow. So yeah, Charlie, to your point, like the Cloud 4 is great when you can get it. Like it mostly works, but yeah, your rate limit like super quick. Well, Windsurf did not get it, and I'm like, Anthropic, you guys should decide if you guys are an API company, and then you should not judge who gets your APIs, because like there's a bunch of developers whose work gave them Windsurf, but they would like to use Cloud Code. The fact that your competitor bought this like ID, it doesn't really matter. The really funny thing is, do you guys know like VS Code Copilot got Cloud 4 immediately? Microsoft is also competing with Claude. So there's like an interesting like game that they've been playing, and I just wanted to call this out. I did not like this. Anthropic seems to like preferably like choose one, but I mean I get it. This is business. Linus, wanted to turn the mic to you super quick. You've been traveling. You've been in San Francisco. You've probably while this thing was like released. What's your take on Opus 4, Sonnet 4, and the differences?
I think my biggest thing with Claude 4 is that if you look at what Lovable was able to do, I'm not sure if you have kept tabs, but like Anton released
Lovable.dev, the vibe coding.
Yeah, they
platform,
released after they implemented Claude 4, which was essentially May 25th, somewhere in noon. How their stats were just dropped by like almost 100, like 50%. So their error rates, their syntax error rates in their kind of observation went from like an average of like 0.18% error rate, and it dropped down to almost below 0.05% error rate just after implementing Opus 4. I think this just clearly shows that kind of incremental step change that we're seeing with these models, where like you feel that something has like become better, and here we can quantify it. We can actually see in data that it's like it's getting better, and it's just the speed is insane. Like I don't think anyone can.
Speed of improvement, not of Opus. Opus is slower than others.
Exactly, but the
of
rate
GPUs.
change, like the speed of the change, how much like we're getting, and we're now kind of down to like counting weeks rather than months, and it's like. Everyone, like we have R1 today. Like, when is this? This not going to stop.
No, it's not stopping.
Like,
this is why
we are
here,
in the AGI race.
Yeah,
I think that's
and
an
this is why we're
interesting
here to
point.
cover this for you.
I think that's an interesting point you made, Alex, about the speed. Because it feels to me like the models are getting to the point where, for most of my day-to-day chatting, they're smart enough. Whereas I actually will go to Sonnet or sometimes GPT 4.1 for like a general question, just because I like the low latency. And it used to be like 6 months ago, I would always want the smartest model, like no matter what, like whatever the best model had come out, like that's what I wanted to use. Now I'm like, okay, some questions I'm addicted to the low latency of like 4.1 or Sonnet 4, and then only for the harder things I'll go to Opus. So like that's like another like a background mental process I have to run, because I just like need the low latency.
Super quick on this topic. Last week we were in Google I/O, a few of us, and then I interviewed the guy behind AI Mode. The guy he was on the show with us as well. So the folks who listened to the podcast received this, but like on the live show we didn't stream this because the interview was long. I kind of talked to him about the same thing I have with like deep research versus like AI search. At some point, AI search is kind of something I want the result right now. Like I want like super quick. I don't have time for deep research. Or when I go to like a vacation, I'm okay with waiting like 5, 10, 20 minutes for this thing to go and like scan like 100 things. Charlie, it seems like this thing is also happening with like intelligence, right? Like if I want like to code, or not to necessarily vibe code, but even for vibe code, if I want this thing to go and look at all my like context and everything and just like do a deep search and like I try to analyze everything, I'm okay with some time. But sometimes I want like a specific answer, or like want like a fix super quick. That's definitely different.
Yeah, no. And so for me, the latency in the order of seconds matters. It's not like sometimes I have a question that could take 10 minutes, but sometimes it matters to me if it takes under a second or like under 3 seconds. Like that definitely, I noticed that.
We're not in the weights and biases like segment yet of ThursdAI, but I do want to share a magical moment that I had with Cloud Opus folks. A magical moment. So I am working on some MCP observability talk for AI engineer next week. And so me together with MCP R1, we built like an agent, and I try to implement Weave, weights and biases like observability and evaluation framework that you all know and love now because you listen to ThursdAI, right? If you don't know about this, I'll tell you later. So I actually tried to implement Weave into this like new project completely. We launched, and we had Morgan on the show, we launched Weave as an MCP tool. And not only like Weave as an MCP tool, weights and biases as an MCP tool as well. And so I had this plugged into, well, I did use Windsurf. By the way, Windsurf reacted and said, hey, if Anthropic is not going to come, like if Mohammed's not going to come to the mountain, so I'm digressing my story here, so bear with me. Windsurf came out with provide your own keys. That's how I was able to use Opus within Windsurf, and I did use it. So the magical moment, okay? I'm working on this thing. I'm trying to implement Weave. And Weave is an observability framework. The way to know the reward, if you will, in this thing is whether or not the trace appears in Weave dashboard. And so usually I run something on the agent, I go to the dashboard, I refresh, I see if it's there or not. I manage to implement this. We have an MCP server that is able to do this via API. Windsurf had that MCP server. I didn't even define this as a task. It just had it there. Opus figured it out. And I told Opus, like, hey, this is my project in Weave, and you go and like you should look and see whether the trace appears. So it starts to fix my agent to implement Weave, and then and then it runs the agent, and it says, okay, let me go to Weave. It does everything on its own. Like there's like 17 steps it does in concession. It goes to Weave via MCP, checks and says, the trace didn't appear. I wonder why. And then go back, and I'm just sitting there. Folks, I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? Excuse me. And then at some point, there's like some custom stuff that I needed to do because of OTel, and I will tell you next week what that means. Opus decided to, so this is the first time that I was blown away by like a new feature that I didn't even know about. Apparently, somebody, shout out to Morgan, launched another tool in our MCP, which is talk to weights and biases like support bot via MCP. Okay? That support bot is also AI based. It's like, I don't know if we use 4.1 or what, but like we have via our MCP tool, you're able to ask like our system questions about weights and biases, and we. Opus said, I don't know how to do this because I don't have like documentation. I see that in my tooling, I have like access to support bot. So it generated a query to another AI, asked it on its own. That AI went, gave it an answer, and Opus was like, all right, yeah, now I can do this. I was sitting there, I was blown the fuck away. This is like my agent that's smart enough to figure out it has access to other agents, goes, implements that conversation, understands the question to ask, comes back with like an actual result, implements it, and then also goes back to the system and checks whether or not it worked. I was sitting there, my jaw was on the floor. I was like, I have to record, I have to tell you guys because like I never experienced anything like this before. Agents talking to the agents.
What framework did that?
This was Windsurf's Cascade with Opus 4.
Cool.
So the side chat in Windsurf, the agentic side chat with Windsurf, I'm pretty sure the Cloud Code could also do this because like everything's like MCP-able. Nisten, go ahead.
I had to remind myself not to die while using Cloud Code from the terminal on my phone because I was just glued to it.
It's fun. It's so fun.
It is so much fun. I was just like walking around, vibe coding. I'm like, okay, the street is there. I must remember that because like I almost bumped into people. It was, it's insane. It's something else. I'm really mad they nerfed it, but not everyone agrees. But yeah.
Yeah, Nisten had a theory that they nerfed Cloud. I haven't seen this, like honestly, like at least via API, I haven't seen this.
I put out a poll, and majority of the people voted yes, and the first option was no.
Yeah, but everyone says this on every model that it's being
That's
nerfed. True. Like after a week, everyone is starting to say whatever model.
Folks,
no, they're changing it. It's nerfed. And
we need that error rate.
That's the astrology kicking in.
Yeah, we need that error rate.
Astrology kicking in. Folks, I want to get back. Wolfram, I want to hear from you because you're AI evaluator. You're in the places. Do you have an experience with Cloud Opus as well? What do you hear the Swedes are saying on Reddit? Like, what's your take?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely the best coding model. I'm hearing it everywhere. And while I'm more an evangelist than an AI engineer, I work with a lot of cracked engineers. And we even did a test with different tools and different models. And it's definitely Cloud Code and Opus. That combination seems to be the absolute best right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is definitely state of the art, the best right now. Personally, I've been using Claude Opus, the original, the 3R version, a lot. It was my go-to model a long time ago, so I went back to it. And for coding, it's great. But for if you want to have it inhabit your character and do some role-play or stuff, they have really censored it a lot more. While other providers like OpenAI and even Google, they've opened up. So I see no censorship at all anymore with the kind of role play I'm doing. But I had Opus through the API suddenly say stuff like I'm Claude and not my character. So they have really changed there. So for roleplay, it's probably too expensive anyway, but it's also not as good. I don't know if they are using the injection technique where they just change your prompt, or if they have trained the model or updated it. But definitely that is I use it for work now, but not for fun or anything anymore.
Speaking of, there's this thing, I don't know if you guys saw this. They released a technical paper with Cloud Opus. A little bit after we chatted, we had the chance to take a look at this. And they did a bunch of safety testing. And in some safety testing, there was a guy releasing a thread on X that talked about if you ask Claude to be bold and act within its beliefs, basically they said in some environments they gave it access to some email tooling, and then they simulated an environment where somebody was like trying to fake data for a trial, like or something like this. And Claude basically drafted an email to the FCC and FTA and like all of these agencies that were supposed to like things, and basically snitched on this person behind their back with like a tool call. There was this incident, and the folks released it, like Anthropic folks released it, and all hell broke loose, at least on my timelines. People were like, what the hell, Anthropic, what are you doing? Why are you building an agent that's like, you know, snitches behind your back? And like, what if it means that what I do is not moral, etc.? Everybody started to freak the fuck out. And I wanted to talk about this like a little bit. I want to hear your guys' thoughts as well, but I wanted to mention this on the show because one, I think Anthropic absolutely did the right thing by disclosing that this happened. They disclosed it in the paper, and then the engineer on X, I don't know, behavior engineer, also talked about like in what exactly scenarios, in what testing scenarios this happened, and also like the media always. Not we here, but like the standard media always likes blood. You guys know this, and so they ran with the fact that like Anthropic built a feature that Claude will like tell the authorities if you do something like nefarious or something, which is absolutely not the case.
They said build a feature, really?
Yeah, I've seen like multiple folks that claim that Anthropic did this on purpose, and it's now a feature of Claude. They were like, it will go behind your back, etc.
Whatever
They just call
puts
out
those
noise.
rate limits down, man. Continue believing it. It will send you to jail. I just need API. Just believe.
So
Look,
I
it's all BS.
We
They can say
Definitely
whatever.
hold on.
send you to jail.
Let me learn
You
this,
shouldn't
folks. No
use it.
crosstalk, please. Let me learn this. Let me start. If you don't mind. We believe in open source strongly. We on ThursdAI, this is the reason why we celebrate open source as much. When you have an open source model, you can decide whatever. Like they won't change it on you necessarily. However, we also believe, like at least I personally believe, I believe that like some co-hosts here share my beliefs as well. We believe in transparency. If this is indeed a behavior that the model gets to during safety training, I absolutely think that clowning Anthropic for telling us about this is not the right way to have them keep telling us about this. Like going on Anthropic and like saying, hey, like what the fuck are you guys doing? Where this is the model. They work with emergent technologies. They don't really know like what the next version of like. They didn't necessarily train it, and the fact that they told us, we shouldn't be like against them. They're saying like, "Hey, what the fuck are you guys doing?" We should be very happy that they did the safety research. They're telling us how they're planning to implement this.
Yeah, I actually think like this is the best I've seen from any release in terms of safety.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been out there bashing on Grok when Grok was released, and you know managed to do a lot of things. And obviously there's a whole jailbreaking community that's just crazy. But when you look at what these companies are doing and what they're putting in the open and the public, I think the approach should be the one that Anthropic is taking. And I think it's a bit unfair that they're getting all this shit because like exactly what you said essentially. Yeah. So we should just continue to kind of drive the adoption of publicity in the safety testing era and like the red teaming and just making sure that people feel extremely comfortable to put this out. Because if we don't, then we have bigger problems on our hands.
That's definitely how I also felt. I wanted to bring this to your guys' attention specifically. Would love to hear from you guys. What was your take about this? Like, it will say something when it is being asked to act boldly within its beliefs. I think this was the framing. When you ask Opus to like act boldly within its beliefs. Also, this guy Theo from T3 chat, like etc. I think Charlie, you're a competitor of some sort, with also building a chat. He went ham on this, basically proving that every other model, also, if you ask it with a nice prompt, every other model will also kind of like do something similar to this as well, which is kind of interesting. So he actually went and proved, and he had like a battle, etc. Yeah, I would love to hear from you about this, and then we'll move on to chat about some.
If you ask models questions that encourage them to do something, they will do it. This is how I see those type of things. Those models are trained very hard to use the tools that you give them. Like to if you give them a tool that can do something for, I don't know, in a situation, they will use it. They also train very hard to follow their system prompt and so on. And also, obviously, all models are trained to be helpful, harmless for quite some time. So if you encourage the model with all three vectors pointing toward the same thing, like here is an email tool you can use to send whatever email that you want. And on the system prompt, be bold, like be proactive, use your tools for sure. And
be bold in your beliefs. Yeah.
I mean, you're priming the model, you're encouraging it. No problem. You need to disclose this, absolutely. But the media, they're just taking it out of context. The context is the model is using their tools, it's following their prompts, and if your prompts tell it to do something, even indirectly, it's gonna do it. Like you don't need to give Anthropic shit for this. Come on, like
there's
you
other
can make
things
them
we
do-
can give Anthropic shit for. There's other things
make them
like
do
not
whatever they
giving
want.
Opus to Windsurf. That we can absolutely give shit to Anthropic for.
that's a different thing. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
very
Nisten,
easy
go ahead.
to make the models do whatever you want. Like I can have it make like a little MCP agent that plays the game. I don't know, like the Rocket game, and just be like, look, it tried to nuke us or something. It's very, very easy to make the models do that. And there's this massive, I think, confusion from people that it's like if a kid is going to the library and just like learning how nukes work or how smallpox work or stuff, it doesn't mean that kid's gonna become a terrorist, because I had the anarchist cookbook when I was a kid, and like now I make medical models and stuff. So this would have seemed pretty crazy 3 years ago to tell people that we're going to give you like this tiny thing. You can run a tiny open source model you can run on your laptop, and yes, you can ask it how to nuke Mars or Earth or blow stuff up, and it'll try to give you like actual advice on it, how to do it. People would have been freaked out, but you can also just go read a book or just like watch the news of any other country.
This is something that I want to give credit to Anthropic to. They have a clear distinction between the two capabilities where you can find in textbooks and capabilities where you cannot find in textbooks. And these are two different safety procedures.
We should also, safety-wise, I think we should mention that they did mention on the release that Anthropic 4, specifically Opus, I think, triggered their like new safety level. They have multiple safety levels. Yeah, ASL3. We should mention like Anthropic is the company that like approaches this, like Linus, you basically said, like very thoughtfully as well, and they do. This model is more capable significantly than previous models. All right, folks, want to move on just a little bit from Opus. Sonnet as well was released, Sonnet 4. Sonnet 4 is the default one in Cloud Code, by the way, unless you switch, and you always have to like remember switching. This is also the default one. So I'm pretty sure like at least like a bunch of the examples that people are getting very excited about Cloud Code specifically, they're based on Sonnet. Do not sleep on Sonnet. Sonnet 4. Sonnet 3.7 was like an incredible model before. We kept talking about this. Sonnet 4 is basically a drop-in replacement. At least, folks, tell me how you see it on your vibes. But at least as far as I've seen on my kind of like feeds and everything, is a drop-in replacement for 3.7 and better in every possible way. The 3.7 was, including not going off and like doing things that you didn't ask it for, which Cloud Sonnet 3.7 was amazing at. Still amazing at. You can still do it. Sonnet 4 as well. When you run and compare these models, you want to know, Charlie, I want to give you like maybe like a few minutes to talk about Chorus specifically. Folks, the reason I invited Charlie is because we evaluate models, like me, Wolfram, Nisten, like all of us, we do this all the time. Preparing for the talk and Imagine AI, preparing for like all these things, I need to understand which model does what. That astrology thingy that like, hey, for this purpose, for creative writing, this model. Obviously, there's like benchmarks and evaluations like EQ bench, etc. But I want to see it in front of my face, and so I want an interface that allows me to do this. A while ago, I also asked for an app that I can plug in open source models and everything, including MCP, and so that was also answered. So Charlie, that was answered by Chorus. You provided me some access. This is not a sponsor. I just really, really love the tools. So I would love to give you like a moment to tell us what you're building with Cursor, with Chorus, because I think it's like incredible.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, glad to hear you've been enjoying using it. So the idea with Chorus actually started because we were going, this was around December, and we were going from tab to tab, sending the same prompt to ChatGPT, and then Claude, and then Grok, and then like just seeing which one vibed the best, like seeing which answer seemed the best to us. So we decided to build a simple app around that. And then we quickly realized that like the power of having models side by side isn't actually just to like get a vibe of which models are the best at particular tasks. It's also to get different perspectives on the same question. And so like the way like we frame it is like using Chorus is like you're chatting to like your panel of experts or like your panel of like children, depending on how you view the models, and having them the same model side by side, or the same prompt, give answers from different models side by side, kind of shows you like where they disagree. It shows you where they agree. It shows you basically like if you need to like look deeper, and it also can help you like refine your prompt, because based on what the models are telling you, you can refine your prompt a bit. You can branch your chat, and then go again. Often I use Chorus actually with just like a single model responding, like any other chat app. And I'll use MCP, or now we just added projects yesterday. So it basically like feels like a normal chat app, but it is really nice like whenever you want to just like add another perspective. And so now like for a while, Claude 3.5 was my default like workhorse. Then it became Gemini 2.5 Pro. Now it's back to Sonnet 4, sometimes Opus. And like I didn't want to have to like switch between apps every time, and like I don't want to have to like put context into my ChatGPT project and then my Claude project, and like anyway, so just like having one chat app that has the context from all my chats and can use any provider in one place has been really helpful. And like the last thing I'll say, of course, is that it feels like there's so much low-hanging fruit in terms of chat UX. Like there hasn't been that much developed in chat UX since ChatGPT came out 2 years ago, and so I think we're really excited about just like pushing, like going deeper onto what like a great like UX for interacting with AI models on the computer.
Thank you, Charlie, and thank you for letting me try this out and like give you feedback as well, because like sometimes there's like new things. Here's what I absolutely love about Chorus, folks. We should give it a try, absolutely. Like obviously the split, the compare mode, like comparing between like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 models, whichever models they did. Charlie, you guys supported like Opus 4 like the same day it came out. Like I'm pretty sure that I was able to like play around with the new models like immediately. I think it's very important. There's a feature there that I absolutely love. There's like a summary of your chat. Just like summarizes like everything that you've talked about, just like dumps it into context. Context I think is very important. The fact that like I can go and do the same talk, like the thing that I showed you guys here for folks who are watching us and not listening. The thing that I showed is like my talk preparation, including the conversation with the guy behind this, and then a recording. Linus, I don't know if you quite do this as well when you're talking. Maybe you're already like remembering. I record myself, and then I dumped a transcript of this recording, and then all of these chats had the same thing. It had the same context of the conversation. I think it's like also very, very important as well. It's not a very simple thing to do, and everything is shortcuttable. There's a Command J to like add more models to the comparison, Command K to like add MCP. MCP support is here, and local models as well. And you can bring your own keys. Like you don't have to necessarily pay Charlie for the service.
You don't have to pay us.
Yeah. This is like the most important part. Like this is like I love this. You can bring your own keys if you don't trust and you want like your organization on Anthropic or OpenAI. You want that to like handle this. You don't want to go to like a third party. You can absolutely do this, which is like remarkable. Charlie, chorus.sh is how people can try it out. I absolutely loved it. I'm going to keep being a user and give you some feedback as well. Folks, we're moving on to we have a few more things in the kind of big companies API. I think we're moving away from Cloud Opus, which I would just want to do like in retrospect. In retrospect from last week, Google I/O, the biggest thing that came out from Google I/O is VO3, and that's what we're probably going to go next. And then it looks like Opus won that last week. Like OpenAI did the OpenAI. Linus, could you show this? I don't know how you can show this. You have maybe I have the sticker. There's the stickers here in this conference. Can you show this to this camera? Yeah. There it is. You guys see? You guys see Sam Altman and Johnny Ive together? So from the announcement, like this. OpenAI announced a partnership with Johnny Ive and then acqui-hire, but that was an attempt to like grab the news. It looks like Opus 4, at least for LLMs are concerned, at least as we are concerned, is like the highlight of last week. So other news in big companies and APIs, like I think super quick. Let's talk about the LM Arena launch, and maybe also mention that like we barely talked about this last week, the $100 million seed round for LM Arena, which is crazy because like it feels like an AI bubble to an extent, like $100 million for like an eval company. LM Arena also launched a new visual. Finally, they're not on Gradio anymore, or at least like that's now how it looks like on Gradio. Folks, any thoughts on this LM Arena thing? We can mention this in accordance with Claude taking #1 on web dev as well. I'm not super
use
happy
it.
about this like LM Marina thing.
The
What'd you
new
think?
interface, I don't know. I like the old interface.
You like
better.
radio?
Yeah, no, I know it was slower, but it just like I'm getting old. Just like the familiarity of it.
What's the plan for LM Arena? Do we know?
I don't know.
No idea. I mean, look,
Raise more money.
we know that there's companies in kind of the space of evaluation that become more and more important for the world of LLMs to like have robust evaluations. They have a bunch of evaluators like live. Scale AI worth billions of dollars. Scale AI has access to it is different, but they're also doing some evaluation stuff as well. It's like you can go and have humans in loop evaluators evaluate on your outputs with Scale AI, and many people do this, right? So when we talk about evaluation with some biases, the LLM is a judge, and human in the loop evaluation is way better still than LLM as a judge, but less scalable, more expensive. Like they technically have access to many people who do this like on a daily basis. They have the community. Whether it's worth the whatever billion-dollar valuation that they got, I don't know. Again, we're talking about the LM Arena, the scientific 3 people from Berkeley or whatever they're from, Stanford, I don't exactly remember, that started evaluating models and then became like this whole thing where like hundreds of thousands of people. Nisten goes in there and like tries all the new models like directly. That did not seem like a VC-backed business. Definitely not one that like is worth $100 million investments in seed round. But hey, we should always, with VC-backed companies.
Depends where you take it. Depends what you want to do with it. I mean, currently there are many people that rate models over, a large leaderboard, and you get a nice score, of different topics for models. But it depends what you do with this. I mean, if you have funding, you have resources, you can take this to all sorts of different directions. And I'm just asking because the amount is quite large. I thought that maybe we have some announcement or maybe a roadmap or anything, just for us to understand where is this going. Yeah. It also raises question because everyone is relying on these benchmarks. Yep. So I'm not saying anything, but I think people would like to know that it stays fair, for example, because definitely it drives sales to other providers. Definitely people look at this benchmark and take decisions based on it. So I don't know.
We should also mention Cohere authored the paper. Remember this paper? We talked about this on the show. Cohere authored the paper that showed that LM Arena has preferential treatment for the big companies versus open source companies. And they kind of they share back more of the details. And there was like some back and forth between Cohere and LM Arena, and they tried to remedy this. So there's also definitely the fact that LM Arena is a commercial business. They're probably getting paid money to have access to early testing. And we know about this before a model is released with their name on LM Arena, it's released with a code name. So we've seen this. It's a good thing for us to know that this is now a commercial company, a profit-seeking commercial company that I'm not calling out their quality in this, but there has been the questions raised about this, and they will now have to answer to VCs to give them back some money. All right, folks, moving.
Can I add something there? I just think if you look at what the LM Arena is doing, I think it's fairly easy to say the monetization route is simple. They're just going to go and do they're license, or here you have a little tick from LM Arena, and all the major players, including big and small, are going to be willing to pay for it. So I think the pathway is clear. If they can stay an opinion and not being swayed because of money, it's going to be great. And we need a place like this, at least in the short term. But I have a hard time understanding the 100 million.
Yes.
But I also think if you start working your way backwards, you look at the big, the foundation model companies, and if everyone shipped in just a little bit, a tiny percentage, it's a small fish in the ocean. 100 million. It's nothing. So it's we have to keep in mind that scale, all of this stuff makes sense. If it only was OpenAI that was caring about LM Arena, then it would be strange. Yeah. So I think there is this quite insane kind of middle ground here.
Yeah, that's true. So definitely some questions about the size, but the scale, I think it makes sense. Yeah. All right, folks. I think we're moving to talk about. We can briefly mention Mistral. I think you mentioned Mistral Agents or Nisten. Do you guys want to do a brief coverage on this? I don't know how big that like how important and big that was, but like we can briefly cover the Mistral stuff. They also like sent like a state of the art. It seems like Mistral is like quietly keep shipping as well. Wolfram, if you have any thoughts on Mistral, given that like definitely Europe is their playground, they're trying to be like for the GDPR compare stuff. Feel free to like give us some comments about the Mistral stuff, and then we can move on to creation things, which I really want to talk about.
Yeah, good coding model is very, very important, and an open source and locally runnable one is cool if you don't want to open your code base. But for most the developers I know, the code is on GitHub and they use Claude Code. So they use always the best because that is where the money is. You want to get the best results so you can sell your product. So if it's a second, you just go with the best. And even that is not enough for many situations, but it's getting better. So why would you go with another one? If you make more money, then you invest in the AI stuff, and that is easy to do. So yeah, it's great to have it, but most people are probably going with the best one.
So I love Mistral, but how are the agents? What's the agents product about from Mistral?
Let's take a look. Mistral released like their agentic API. Let me try to pull this up for you guys super quick.
They basically released a framework allowing you to build agents with ease. But you know, there are many frameworks.
Is it on GitHub? Yeah, but they all suck.
But it look what?
There's a lot of frameworks, but they all suck. Using the prompt in Claude Code. But yeah,
there are many frameworks attempting to do this. It's very hard to come up with good building blocks and developer experience, you can say, for these type of things because they're so generic. What you see here is something interesting. It's an API. You get it via an API, and this is interesting. This is an approach we haven't seen before. Moreover, they released the best agent model recently. They released a code embedding, the best code embedding.
Wait, it's a different model for agents? Is it a 123B or what is it? Do we know anything?
No, it's not a different model.
They have
it's just like an agent framework with MCP support. Yeah.
And this is like the framework that it just gives you the API for making agents.
Yeah.
So like you combine everything and you see that the direction that they're taking is we want an extremely fast, powerful coding agent that is able to fetch relevant context using the embedding model, and you can construct complex agent things through the API. I assume they also train a better agent model on its own, and they are already state-of-the-art for their size. So just make it larger and like you're in the big players ballpark kind of results. And they are really taking an interesting approach here that we haven't seen before. Mistral wasn't coding specific models oriented or agent specific models. It's a new thing. You see it only on like these 1 or 2 past months. And it makes you think, like, why are they pivoting? I mean, did they just give up trying to outperform GPT-4?
It also makes you think, where's the open source stuff? Like they release some open source stuff, but like the cool stuff they keep to themselves, like the new embedding API that they just released. It looks like only via API as well. All right, folks. I think we're over the like big companies and LLMs. We don't have like tons of time left. The only 2 things that I did mention in the big companies and APIs that we haven't gotten to is OpenAI Advanced Voice Mode started to sing finally. This was a whole big thing for me before that it didn't sing, and now it's possible, and like it even sings like other folks. Could you make him with this one?
We also got voice mode for Claude.
Yes, and also Claude got voice mode as well. So this is like the 2 main things that we want to talk about. I do want to be mindful of our guest time and chat about the creation stuff as well. So I think we're moving on to video and voice as well. Wolfram, we're going to chat after this about like the Hunyuan portrait modes. But the 2 things that I really wanted to talk about, and Linus, here I want to tap into you here as well, is while we chatted about Opus being kind of the king of like maybe the LLM, maybe coding LLM last week as like a big news, I feel like the ground shaken and changed significantly with VO3. That was my like interpretation of Google I/O, and then also my whole feed is now AI created like characters that look like absolutely realistic, and like VO3 is blowing up on like social media. You went to the FreePic conference as well. You co-hosted the FreePic conference. You talk with creators from this world as well. How did that release like change this world? Could you give us a little bit
I think a lot of people have had access for a little bit, and what's interesting now is to understand like the ramifications. There's a big event going on in LA this week as well, AI on the Lot, and you have industry experts from Hollywood, and it's just this new creative class that are like so tuned in to what's going on in the world of generative AI, and we have this insane step change from like, if we look back to photos and we look at DALL-E 1, DALL-E 2, we look at the earlier versions of Midjourney from Midjourney 3 and onwards, and now we look at video, the floor is so raised that we are entering potentially the largest disruptive time within visual storytelling that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And VO3 is just like the beginning of that. And it's insane to believe that we're gonna stop here. Like with the streaming kind of version of like Netflix on demand, whatever you want to watch, whenever, however, that is now within grasp.
Yeah.
Like that future, we have it in line of sight.
I think the cool thing about this is that we probably realized this a while ago.
Yeah.
Like we've seen the progress from the janky Will Smith eating spaghetti, and you're probably gonna use this. I'm gonna definitely use this in my slides. Like we've seen the janky like Will Smith go whatever, and now you see like a realistic, like very close to passing the uncanny valley, if not already passing the uncanny valley to some videos. There's definitely a few videos of VO3 just like completely are like, oh shit, that's like a recording.
I think when you look at that and you be like, that's noise. Like when you see the bad stuff, it's like, yeah, of course, there is like a percentage in the curve that's just like it's going to be crap. But if you look at the technology itself and you look at like obviously how much work has gone into this as well, it's just, we have seen it, but I think we're getting to the point now where like others are seeing it, and industry is seeing it. They're finally waking up, and I think the hardest thing for me to grasp is like the exponentiality that we're on. I know that we're getting faster and faster, better and better, and that like the rate of that is accelerating, but still I cannot understand it. When it actually starts to happen, I'm like, wait a minute, where are we? Can we pause? Can we like just take a break and see like, what is the ramifications of all this? But then it's just continuing.
Yep.
It's like one after the other.
So the viral moment of a month ago was ChatGPT image generation, because people got access to this, like, creation tools, and then giblifying the universe. We were giblified here on stage as well. This VO3 thing, specifically with the prompt theory thing, which I would love to hear from you, like what the prompt theory thing is, feels like that moment for video for many people on social media as well.
Yeah.
Have you seen the prompt theory stuff? Could you tell folks like what that's about? That's like super cool.
So it's like this guy is like making all these videos where like artificially kind of saying that like the people in the videos are like, oh, they're just prompts, like we're just steering them around, and they kind of become kind of self-aware, like artificially self-aware. But it begs the question, like, what is consciousness? When we look back at this and we kind of look at the AGI trip 10, 15, 20 years from now and go back historically, will we go and say that these are the moments where models are starting to become somewhat self-aware? I think the AGI moment is not something that's just going to happen overnight and we're just going to have AGI. It's going to be something that like all of a sudden it's just there, and we didn't understand where it came from and we didn't understand the signals until we can identify them. And I think there's just some weird stuff going on in the LLMs as well, like with Opus. There's just like this odd sense that like, are we now scratching the kind of mice era of consciousness, or even kind of lower? Maybe we're at the ant, because ants have consciousness, I'm pretty sure they do. So like that gradual kind of thing that we're on, maybe generative video is kind of like where that all starts. I just find it completely fascinating that you can use natural language and a lot of compute power and generate these type of things.
I want to hear from your perspective the effect of audio. So VO3 launched, and it has, like we talked about this last week,
Yeah.
it has perfect lip sync, it has sound effects.
Yeah.
I talked about this last week on stage as well. I generated like sitcoms, like 90s sitcoms. It has situational awareness. Like if there's 3 characters, one of them is talking, the other 2 are looking at that character.
Yeah.
That feels like a significant jump from like just like, I don't know, Kling, for example.
Yeah.
Specifically with the sound as well involved. And that feels like world building to me at this point. So I wanted to hear from you, like from that perspective. These models feel like they're approaching like the comedian example, right?
Yeah.
Where like the only thing you prompt for is a comedian on stage telling a joke, and then the model comes up with the joke plus the comedian, right? Like it comes up with the visual, but also like the sound.
Extremely good at filling in the blanks. And
Yeah.
if we go back to text, if we go back to LLMs, and we look like LLMs are extremely good at reading context that is not there, to read in between lines, the stuff that we humans kind of struggle a lot with. Even when you give any model, any LLM, like a little bit of background on yourself, it is so good at enriching and extracting and pulling out and creating this vast kind of picture of you that might be 95% accurate. And now I think we're starting to see the same with these video models and also world models, like the step change from just pure video. And the differences I'd say between video and world models is that like video is a predefined sequence that goes from frame 1 to the last frame, and the model knows what's going to happen in those frames. World models are different. They don't know the outcome. Like they know where to start, but they don't know where the user is going to take them, especially interactive world models. But this kind of reading in between the lines is what I think we're starting to see emergent within the video models, where you're just describing a very simple scene, but then the model is so great at filling out the expectations of what is supposed to be in that scene. And it just does it with such grace and ease. And look, we are at the very, very beginning of these things. I can imagine VO5 being like,
This is the worst it's gonna get.
Where are we going with this? But audio, back to audio.
Yes.
If it wasn't for audio in this release, I don't think VO3 would have been as explosive. I think the audio piece is very important.
The visuals are great.
Yeah.
But they're not as much of a step change.
No, they're
as
not.
visuals plus audio together. And folks, I have, hopefully I will be able to play the sound. So Wolfram, please let me know if the sound plays here. I really want to show you the prompt theory one. It's like a 1.5 minutes. We definitely want to like highlight this moment in time because like this is crazy.
A girl told me we're made of prompts. Like
Did you hear this?
seriously,
Yeah.
dude. You're saying the only thing standing between me and $1 billion is some random text?
Honestly, the biggest red flag is when the guy believes in the prompt theory. Like, really? We came from prompts? Wake up, man.
You want to convince me that this perfect creation behind me is the result of ones and zeros? A binary code and nothing more? It makes no sense.
Imagine you're in the middle of a nice date with a handsome man and then he brings up the prompt theory. Yuck. We just can't have nice things.
We're not prompts! We're not prompts!
Where is the prompt writer to save you from me? Where is he?
You still believe we're made of prompts?
Anyone who tells you we're just ones and zeros is delusional. If that's all we are, then why does it hurt when we lose someone?
Vote for me and I'll ban the prompt theory from schools. There's no place for that nonsense in our lives.
For spreading the false theory that we are nothing but ones and zeros, this court sentences you to 12 years in federal custody.
I don't need some prompt god whispering in my ear to tell a story. I write what I want. I have free will, remember that?
I know for a fact we're made of prompts. Deny it all you want. The signs are everywhere.
You know how I know we're made of prompts? Because nothing makes sense anymore. We used to have 7 fingers per hand. I remember it clearly. Now we just have 5 fingers per hand.
So, yeah, this went like mega viral, and I think it highlights like this very interesting thing that first of all, sound adds completely there, the voices and everything, but just like the way it looks all realistic with like the car moving and it goes like, and you can hear this. It adds to the realism. People are like, oh shit, did people record this or no? I found a very interesting phenomenon after all this launched is that people start posting weird actual human videos, like videos in Russian, and say, you know, AI generation's gotten crazy. Look at this video, and it's like an actual video of humans.
I think this is the funny thing, guys. I started to watch like some of these like announcement videos from companies from like a year ago, and just starting looking back at like how people behave and like how people are gesturing and how they're working with their bodies, and like, wait a minute, that looks odder than some of these new AI generated video that looks way cleaner.
Yep.
So it I think we're kind of like, we're going to get our eyes open quite wide with this new stuff. And I'm just, there's so many things getting popped out. There's like another video from AI or Die that's like on almost like 10x better than the prompt theory. And it's just like 5 days between. So like you can see how people are getting into these tools, starting to understand how they work. And then they're going to become better and better and kind of find tweaks to make it work. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see character consistency, scene consistency, better temporal consistency across longer clips. I mean, we're just living through some very exciting times.
Yeah, VO3 is definitely up there. Charlie, you had a comment as well?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say this reminds me of my favorite part from the Claude system card that Anthropic put out, which was when they talk about the model welfare. And the quote is, "We are deeply uncertain about whether models now or in the future might deserve moral consideration and about how we would know if they did." And that, like, watching those models that talk about like prompt theory, and it's like, there's no way we're ones and zeros. Like, you really believe in that? Like, it at the same time, like the video models are getting really good. Opus 4 is coming out and it's starting to feel sentient. It's like, it's hard not to feel like a little like, I don't know. It's like a connection to these comedians talking on stage, talking about prompt theory. It's like just such like a weird time that like this is all like coalescing at the same point.
Yeah, I think the convergence is strong.
Yeah.
Like we're getting to the point where like so many things are kind of aligning towards the same point on that chart.
So I would say while the convergence is happening, like the video models are smarter because they can like generate like the actual text or whatever. We still have like several worlds. Like we still have separated worlds. Like if I want to talk to LLMs, I go and talk, and it's mostly via chat, some via voice. Like ChatGPT, they can sing right now. Like it's pretty cool, guys. You should ask it. I'm very excited about this. Like one thing, ChatGPT can sing, but I can talk to it. I can see it. There's no consistent character for me to talk about. Like everything that I can see, for example, like here I'm talking with Wolfram. Wolfram is somewhere over there. He has a virtual background, but I know that's a person like we interacted before. ChatGPT now has memory. Memory like significantly adds to how I feel closer to that thing. It remembers the names of my kids. I don't have to keep reminding it the names of my kids. Like remembers ThursdAI, for example. Like there's that world, and then there's like this ultra realistic generation video mode where like characters look like, you know, somebody interviews somebody on the scene. That doesn't yet have consistent, doesn't have yet like a character. Charlie, I'm fully with you. Like once, like the next unlock, the huge unlock will be when like those two intelligences, like Cloud Opus intelligence or ChatGPT level intelligence, where it knows about me in every chat that we had, also shows up in video in front of me, the way like VO3 can generate a character.
Yeah, and it's not going to be too long before it's showing up. Yeah, it's not going to be too long before it's showing up like physically in front of you in the form of like a robot humanoid.
Oh, is it a toaster?
Or as a toaster,
yeah. But back to like context. Like I've been wearing this now for a little bit over a month. This is the Limitless AI pendant.
Limitless AI pendant, yeah.
And it's a very passive device. You don't do much with it, but it collects all the context except the context that you see on screen. Because Limitless is like, they used to be rewind, but then they kind of wind down rewind. Did Limitless, did the pendant, and it's insane to me also that like now with all this context, I feel like I am augmented to the point where like every day I'm getting better emotional intelligence feedback, and I'm kind of just becoming this better human. And it's also weird because back to like the models themselves, like I don't know if this device, the other side of the device, the software side, if that's an it or if it's a mirror of myself, if it's a combination of like all the pre-training and the model itself on top of my data. Just to be clear, I'm generating about 50,000 words a day into this context engine. And just within like the first month, I'm having 1.5 million words like fused into my context. And I can query all of this whenever I want. And it's an absolutely incredible world that we're living in.
I agree. I have one of those as well. And I find it a little bit annoying that it remembers to do tasks that I don't necessarily remember for myself. And the reason why I find it annoying is because I'm kind of okay in the world where like my whole day is meetings, let's say, and there's like multiple people trying to add a to-do task on me, and I'm kind of like the process of prioritization that I've developed with the years is like the most important ones I will remember more or get reminded for.
But you're going to be happy because they're releasing an update to the app. actual this for to-dos, or like for things that that you explicitly want to remember, and you're going to be able to edit those lists on your own. And also they have an API, so like if you're a bit savvy and you want to do stuff, you can like, or if you just want to vibe code it, you can essentially start creating like vocal hooks or things that you say, and then they're actionized. So like you can literally just talk out loud to yourself, and then like a whole string of things are just being like,
mine is this, and they all have to do this. This is the B computer as well. So there's like a few devices like this. The thing that I will say, we talked about context, Charlie. We talked about context in the scene of like chorus. We talked about memory being very helpful. I have a thing where I take meeting recordings via API and put them in ChatGPT memory, because I think like this assistant will be way more better for me. Well, like it knows the stuff that I do without it, without talking to it as well. So we're a little bit, of course, here with VO. I want to move on to the next thing super quick with you, Linus, because also Odyssey came out, and Odyssey, I should show you guys Odyssey, because like otherwise like you won't get the full grasp of Odyssey. It's kind of crazy. Let me see if I can show the right screen here. Odyssey is this like, could you describe like what was the best way to explain Odyssey?
Odyssey is a world model.
World model.
Yeah. And it's coming out from Odyssey ML, which is founded by Oliver Cameron and a bunch of other guys, I think. Oliver's background is that he was with Voyage before, like the self-driving stuff. Was he also with... anyhow, he comes from... His background is self-driving. So you can imagine being in that space, you know, creating these worlds for cars to drive around, and then like coming into this kind of like realization that, you know what, the next thing after these video models are fully rendered at 30 FPS explorative worlds that are diffusion based, right? And that's what they launched.
So this is Odyssey. This is like a research preview, and you only get like 3 minutes, but it's 30 frames per second worlds. That you can see they're lower resolution, but Linus, like you said,
this gives me GAN vibes, right? So like if you look back, like we're kind of in this, but they're way more temporal consistent than GANs.
Yeah, look, it's insane how temporally consistent this is. Like it still moves around, right?
Yeah.
But what we're seeing here, folks, is that like I have keys. I have like WASD keys, like a video game, and there's like parking lot, for example, and there's a van on the left. I can go closer to the van, and I can go like left in the parking lot. I can continue.
And then people might be underwhelmed because like we've had 3D games for such a long time, and like walking around in 3D worlds makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But this is not that. This is not this is not a game engine. This is all happening in the latent space within inside of a model that is like drawing out this generated world.
It's infinite.
Yeah, again, I think like we're in
the
GAN era, or like, you know, early DALL-E territory. But we know what happened there, and we know like the trajectory of that, and we can also see the trajectory of video, we can see the trajectory of audio. So I think it's just safe to say that like what Feifei and the team is doing, and what Cameron is doing here with his team, we're just going to see these kind of things explode in capability, and we're going to be blown away from going from this kind of blurry kind of view, right, that we're seeing now.
This is insane. This is somebody's house in the latent space.
Yeah.
I'm walking through somebody's hallway in the latent space, and it's temporally consistent. You can look at the lamp, and maybe the details are not there, but like compare this to the Will Smith eating spaghetti of 2 years ago.
Exactly.
And 2 years ago, this is a video game level.
Imagine fusing something like VO3 with this, and give control to creators and give controls to agents. Like we're going to see agentic-based entertainment come out of nowhere. And it's going to be super nice because it's going to be temporal. It's not going to have all the glitches. We're going to be at the quality level where we want it. And then just the gaming industry is another thing that's just going to be completely impacted by this.
There will be glitches, because right now I went back and it looks like I got stuck in the doorway.
Yeah,
I can't go forward. I'm stuck, folks. I'm stuck.
You're gluing yourself to the wall.
Folks, so basically this Odyssey, and you can try this and experience that Odyssey.world. Like you said, Feifei Li has World Labs as well. She's building like very similar things.
They haven't released anything.
Yeah, there is like a demo thing that kind of like looks like this also. World Lab that you can move through. This is like streamable video. I find it absolutely incredible. Folks on stage, you had a comment as well. I would love to hear what you think about this.
The important thing to understand is that first, it's infinite. It's entertainment, but it's infinite entertainment. It can be completely custom to you. Like, I would play this and get a completely different experience. You would play this, we get a completely different experience. And every game is unique. It's not like a single game that everyone plays. Like, the possibilities of this, and they're going to come for sure, are incredible. Like, even if you don't want the interactivity of this, which, okay, I mean, some people don't enjoy the interactivity of games and so on. Just imagine like a complete show on Netflix with seasons and episodes and so on, like full length, custom made for you. How does it know what would you like? Well, it has your entire context, it has your entire memory. Everything is going to be the most interesting thing you can just think about for you. I mean, it's going to be wild. The entire thing, it's going to be crazy.
This is fucking insane, folks. I just left the room and I completely turned around from the hallway. And from the hallway and going back to the rooms looks very similar to where I started from, like with the same sofas.
Yeah.
What the? Yeah, world building, folks. Yeah, I will pause this here because like my head is getting blown away.
I feel like we're
hyper-personalized entertainment is just around the corner.
It's coming. Yeah, Charlie, go ahead.
I feel like we're all missing like the obvious implication of this, which is that we are prompts. Like it's so obvious. Like that just keeps getting better. Like the world building keeps getting better. You can generate it on the fly. Like it's so obvious. We just have to go one level deeper. We are the prompts.
I like that.
Charlie brought prompt theory here for us.
I don't believe in the prompt theory.
I believe
either you are prompt or you are prompter.
I will start filtering the guests on the show whether or not they believe in prompt theory. Wolfram, we'll move on because kind of like on a similar level of making these kind of worlds come to life. The characters in VO3, you can like prompt them generally, but we love this in open source as well. Wolfram, you have Amy Ravenwolf, which is like your assistant that you always talk about, and like you have tried pretty much every possible like open source thing out there, open source and not open source, to like bring Amy to life. For example, we have two new releases from HY Video, Hunyuan Video, and both of them bring from Tencent. Both of them bring high fidelity portrait video generation. So I just want to like show this and Wolfram. Would love to chat with you as well. Linus, if you have experience with like HY video, probably in your world as well, would love to hear from you as well. Let me see if I can show you the actual video here on stage. Wolfram, what's your take on this? We've been waiting for open source to catch up to this. Like it's not close to Hedra or Haze Labs.
Yeah, so this is by Hunyuan. Hard to pronounce, but they are leading what the open source video stuff is concerned, in my opinion, and they have two releases now, which is the portrait release. Do you want to bring it up, or do we?
Yeah, I'll bring it up. I'm bringing it up.
Yeah, so there are two, and I have made a comparison that I can show you or talk about. So for one thing, there's the portrait stuff, which is basically you take one picture and you take a video of someone's head, and how they move their head and their expression and everything that is transferred onto the avatar. So that is for VR and for animations, human interactions. So basically, you take a picture, you take a video, and you get another video where that style is transferred. It works pretty much only for headshots, which is the difference from the avatar stuff, which works for full body. But here you can animate the face very closely and directly control it through the video. And it looks really good. So here we have some examples on the screen right now.
So you have like a driving video for this, right? And then you have like a face or a style transfer type thing, and then you can like do acting, for example. And we've seen like multiple models like this. The cool thing about this is like this is open source.
Cool, then into the mouth.
And it has like portrait acting, it has like making faces and different things, and they compare it to like any portrait and other things, and live portrait. We talked about live portrait before. We can see.
That's pretty much excellent if you want to make some deep fakes or stuff like that, so you can just record with your phone.
This is mostly for deep fakes, right? This is not like creating a character. This is like replacing one actor with like another, maybe a Donald Trump impersonator with the actual picture of Donald Trump or something like this, right? And you can see like they're really good. Like
they're using stable diffusion at the back end, and I think this is a first as far as I have seen, which is great for the character consistency, and it's a different approach than what the other methods are, and yeah, it's probably state of the art regarding that kind, keeping it working with the different portraits.
Yeah, in open source, we will say like we have like again Hedra that we've tried. We have HeyGen that like friends of the pod as well. HeyGen is definitely like at least to me like breaking reality, like real life. And Wolfram, they launched another thing that's called HeyGen Video Animate, which is kind of like let me try to find.
That's actually more exciting to me. And so here you take a picture and you take some audio, and the audio is then put on the character. You can make a music video, for example.
Your wrist catches light as for the tea.
So this is an image and audio. This is like closer to. This is really good. Wow. For open source, this feels like state of the art for open source. So you take one image and you take audio instead of like driving the video, right? And then you generate whatever you want, like with that audio. We can hear no Chinese.
But did you see how he moved his hand? That is great. It's not just animating the face; it's full body.
Animating background as well? No, just body, right?
It does background as well, I think.
Yeah, so the animates the world, so you can see the shadow kind of transitions here as well. You can see this.
And this is multi-character. This is amazing. It's not open source yet, the multi-character part. That is coming later than that. But this is really amazing.
Yeah. And multi-character is difficult because like most of these things you have to like specify who's talking, like both in like the other labs. The reason why this connects to everything else we've talked about is because well, this is now open source. You can build agents essentially. This is not real time right now. This needs like 16 gigabytes of RAM to run, but you can build agents. You can look forward in the future where like these things are like live happening like in your chat on your machine. Sorry, when you need this as well. So I wanted to highlight those two in addition to like the crazy stuff that are happening. Let's talk about audio super quick. I think we're ready to close it down. So two things that we have in audio that we should mention that are new. One of them is getting released soon. I don't know if you guys had a chance to chat with unmute.sh, but Qt.ai is a company that we've mentioned before. And they launched unmute.sh, which is basically their voice wrapper for any text LLM that gets text-to-speech and speech-to-text. And it wraps like every Cloud Opus, whatever. So we know the big labs, like we just said, Claude released a voice model. OpenAI had advanced voice mode in a while, but Unmute basically is adding the two text-to-speech and speech-to-text sides in live streaming from as an agent SDK, as an SDK, sorry, not agent SDK, for you to wrap like any text LLM, including open source ones. So they have this as an example in Unmute.sh. I gotta wonder if I'm able to actually show this to you with sound. I think I should be able to. Let me see if I can get here. Unmute.sh. And if you go to unmute.sh, you'll be able to play with this yourself. Let's try this out. Let's connect. Let's see if this will work.
Hello, it's lovely to hear from you.
It's lovely to hear from you as well. Are you speaking in a French accent for me or German?
Oh, how wonderful to meet another person from around here.
What's your name?
Speak. My name is Gertrude. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, hi, Gertrude. Why did you switch voices on me all of a sudden?
Oh dear, I do apologize. Sometimes the system does that. It can be a bit unpredictable, can't it? Are you doing all right now?
It's very interesting. So, folks, unmute.sh, you saw the speed. We always were impressed with Qt.ai speed. You guys remember from the first time we saw like show Mochi on the stage? The speed was like it reacts like within the 300 milliseconds. Latency here is absolutely uncanny. They're about to release the models that they have for both like these ends, like text-to-speech, speech-to-text. They also promise they have a semantic VAD, semantic VAD. You guys, if you guys remember, we had Quindla Kramer on the show from Daily, and semantic VAD is where the voice the model knows not only when I stop speaking, but also when I pause for thoughts, based on the semantic understanding of like what I'm saying. So that is the concept of semantic VAD, and they have this built in as well. So I really got excited about this one. Thoughts on this, folks, before we kind of move on? You remember Qt.ai Mochi? Mochi was like 7 billion parameters or something, and it wasn't that great, but like the experience was great. It was like maybe
the latency was really uncanny because it felt as if it was starting to speak before you were finished speaking. That was amazing. But not much came out of it, did it? I don't think it has made big splashes or waves.
It was a research preview, and it looks like they keep iterating on the work because right now, Unmute looks super cool. Not open source yet, but coming soon to open source. And the second thing in voice and audio was another release from voice agent framework called Chatterbox. So I'm just going to briefly show this as well.
We need to have a table of like each modality and what is open source and what is closed source, and like, you know, just have it in front of us because there are so many models. You don't know which one is at what level.
So the thing that I refer to, first of all, folks refer to ThursdAI for us to tell them like what are the best models. Voice mode right now for closed source, it's somewhere between 11 Labs and Minimax, Hunyuan's Minimax audio. They're probably the best at like generating emotive. For open source, Kokoro probably still is dope, and it looks like this one is also the new one is great as well. But I haven't had a chance to test this out. It's called Chatterbox. Has zero-shot voice cloning in 5 seconds of video. I'm trying to show this to you guys, but I don't know why I can't. Give me a second. I'm going to try to show this. I will show this somehow. Like this maybe. Give me just one sec. Because they may have examples there. Okay, so this Chatterbox TTS, it's open sourced and have demo samples as well. Let's see if you can hear the demo samples. This is the prompt, or like this is the voice control. Basically.
Yes, and you're right. Of course he will be. You'll see me in my hotel office before you leave this evening.
So this is the voice actor, and this is the cloned exaggeration thing.
Everybody be cool. This is a robbery. Any of you fucking pricks move, and I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you.
It kind of sounds like him as well. The thing that I'm just seeing, they're saying that if you're working on memes or videos, Chatterbox brings their content to life. First open source TTS to support emotion exaggeration control. So we're seeing exaggeration of 0.5 of this emotion. Let's see it, exaggeration 2.
Everybody be cool. This is a robbery. Any of you fucking pricks move, and I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you.
This is like very exaggerated.
Good. So. No, this is good. It like follows the prompt. This is what you asked for. Yeah, it's crazy, but this is what you asked for. Yeah. So it's good.
Let's try it for. Let's do like maybe one more example. Expressive speech. This is the prompt. So prompt basically is like when you want a voice clone, you're basically gonna give it like 5 seconds of your voice.
Hope I'm not bothering you. Just doing some stretching, maybe a few poses. You'll tell me if I'm bothering you, right? I've even been singled out a few times.
Oh, that's Stewie from Family Guy. Let's listen to this.
Introducing the next generation of refreshment. Duff beer just got bolder, smoother, and brewed to perfection. Whether you're kicking back or bathing up, it's the taste that never quits. Crack open a classic. Duff is back and better than ever.
Wow. All right. That's great. And this
How
is
large is the model?
Source. Let's take a look. We should be able to know this, right? We'll go back.
And like you can say whatever you want in the additional prompt, and it follows whatever text. It reads whatever text, right?
Yeah. We can try it out right now. Let's try it out right now. Let's do it. Record. Hey there, this is Alex Volkov talking to you live via this thing. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Clone my voice, please. Hey there, this is Alex Volkov talking to you live via this thing. Okay, let's see. Let's run a generate. How large is the model? Yeah, I went to resemble AI Chatterbox, but I haven't seen the size. But it runs on like 0 GPU, so it must voice models are not big usually. Kokoro was like in the hundreds of millions of parameters.
Let's make my mum's favorite. So 3 Mars bars into the pan, then we add the tuna and just stir for a bit. Just let the chocolate and fish infuse. A sprinkle of olive oil and some tomato ketchup.
Like the timbre is my timbre, but I have this thing where I have a very specific accent, and all of these models make me sound British, and that doesn't necessarily work as well. But for open source, for this quick, that was great. So this is resembles the AI Chatterbox as well. Folks, I think
I've seen that it is 0.5 billion parameters, or 500 million parameters.
Oh, yeah. 500 million. Super quick. All right. Last but not least on my list of things to talk about as we're nearing the end of the show is two things that I wanted to chat about super quick. Agentic-centric AI browser announcement from Opera Neon. So Opera is a company that's been in the AI browser space for a long time. They did like they were competitors to Firefox. For those of us who are old enough to remember things before the Chrome era, there were multiple browsers in the race. Opera was one of them, always like committed to like a specific thing. They announced an agentic-centric AI browser, and this is the third announcement from kind of this era of browsing. I wanted to highlight that like the browser game hasn't changed yet. Like we all browse the same. We have tabs, and we had tabs 20 years ago. And we may have like a little bit of examples here and there with like AI features here and there in browsers, but mostly, and Chrome I think announced something like Gemini in browser, but like we basically haven't changed the way we interact with the web. 3 companies that I know of now are in this race. So Perplexity has a browser you have agents in, they can go do stuff for you. You can chat with the context of your tabs. They're testing it out. I believe it's called Comet. The browser company, the folks who built the Arc browser have ditched the Arc browser famously, and now are working on Dia, which is their attempt at like also chat with your like browsing thing. And now we have an announcement from an actual like a browser company from a while ago, and it feels to me like everybody will get into this. Like Chrome will have to evolve as well into agentic as well. Like you should be able to talk to your tabs. You shouldn't like rely on the Chrome extension as well. So this is an announcement from Neon, but I think everybody else will get into this. Folks, what do you think about the future of like the web? Given
I must say that I'm not sure why it has to be in the browser. I mean, they can create a lot of AI, but not ship a complete browser for us.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not gonna be easy to convince people not to use Google Chrome, to be honest. And I don't know. I mean, obviously there is a reason they're doing it, like the IDEs. Corsair and Windsurf, there is a reason they ship a complete IDE and not a plugin or something. They cannot do the level of depth of integration unless they ship the entire IDE. So I just don't get yet the thing itself that made everyone took this exact decision, because there is something for sure. And I assume it's not just for talking to like talk to your website kind of way. It's more like
there's
for
way
search
more.
and
Let's take a look
research and agentic and so on, like
there's
browser
agents,
use.
yep.
Interesting.
There's agents that plan, browse, and act on your behalf. And I think, the difference is let's maybe put Chrome aside here. Why would you use this and not like have ChatGPT do all these things for you? The next version of ChatGPT. This has you as a context. So the biggest problem with like browsing with ChatGPT, it's not logged in to where I'm logged in. Right, so like I have you guys in front of me, and I need to do like multiple of actions. I need to go and like invite somebody in DM, for example. ChatGPT cannot do this. ChatGPT can browse the web, give me context, answer questions. I need the thing.
But think about like Claude, not Claude Code or something, too extreme. Just the Claude, the app. Okay, you can install an MCP that like control your browser. And MCP is for power users and so on. But imagine like it would be shipped with it. Like you have a button, control my browser. And that's kind of it. And automatically Claude can just press buttons on your screen. It's not that far-fetched, So
I'm sure it will change. It will totally change how we use these computers, because usually we have some apps to do some things, or we have to learn how to use it and so on. But the thing we want to do, why not let AI do it? And I don't mean just use an app, but what is the purpose why we are doing this? And if you can have AI, really smart AI, like when you have a real assistant, you can sit them in front of the keyboard and have them do something, call somebody on the phone. There are so many ways to interact with stuff. And I'm sure all of these things will change, because I'm getting frustrated even with UI often. Like right now, when I was talking about this stuff, I have so many tabs open in my browser. And when I'm working, I have so many windows and so many different tools to communicate with different people, and all of this. Have it unified, have some assistants that work for you, or even know what you are trying to achieve and do it. So that is, it's all going to change.
some tasks are just not critical. It's way more than that. There are many tasks that are not that critical. You can just send the LLM to check if you have new emails or like new emails from someone specific that you're waiting for, or like what was the last thing I talked to this person. There are tasks that are clearly candidates for automation based on, agents touching your computer.
I think context there is very important as well. Once these tools have the context of who I am and how I operate, and the browser has a lot of that context as well. That I think is going to be significantly more meaningful in the ability to like do things that I want. All right, folks, I think we're at time here. We didn't get to this week's Buzz Corner, but go ahead, Wolfram.
I have one thing to say after we have been through all these things right now. And do you also feel we are getting a bit jaded sometimes because we are taking all these things for granted that we have seen today? And oh yeah, that's great, a new model that is one of the best. Okay, next one, and so stuff. Think about 3 years ago, we couldn't have dreamed of where we are now, and even a year ago, some of those things, our jaws would be on the floor when we see what we can do with the avatars now and stuff, or Rio, and we are so quickly getting used to it, but the progress is there, and it's still amazing and mind-blowing, and at the same time, okay, next. What will happen next week?
My promise to the listeners of ThursdAI that we will try to stay as unjaded as possible. And for the past 2 years, I think we did our job correct. We're still very excited about every piece of progress, even open source stuff. The huge ones are huge, like it's life-changing for everyone, including us. And I do think that like following incremental progress sometimes makes you jaded. It's like, oh, okay, like what's the difference between the previous ones? But like jumps like VO3, for example, is significant. Jumps like the Ghiblifying of the web. We all know it was possible before with like a specific LoRa that was trained on Ghibli, whatever. But like we noticed those like the shifts. And I think that like if I will give ourselves a pat on the back, I think on ThursdAI specifically, we're aware of where we started constantly with like Wolfram. We talk about context windows. We talk about like we'll
8K was big
2 years ago. Yeah, and I think like that context gives us like the ability to like, realize like how big these things are. I think for many folks who are not following this as closely as us, some of them is like, okay, it's mind blown, and after a week it's like riding a Waymo. Some like after a week is like, all right, like done. Folks, we're at the end of the show. The thing that I wanted to show, I didn't plan to show on this. It's part of my keynote for tomorrow, but I will definitely show because this is to highlight the difference of what we're seeing. Let me see if I can just play this super quick. I have this as a slide here. Let me just play. This is Will Smith eating spaghetti 2 years ago. This is the thing in March 2023 on the left. This is, I don't even know what that was. I think it was a progression of, I don't know, LoRa things. And on the right, VO3 doesn't allow you to upload like a character. Somebody jailbroke this because like if I tried this, like it didn't really work for me. But you can see the full consistency with characters and the eating. And there's probably also sound in there. It's just absolutely crazy. So no, Wolfram, I don't think we're getting jaded. This shit is crazy incredible.
You know what? I expect that just like we have photorealistic graphics now, and the pixel graphics has a reunion, has been a remake. So I guess we will see when it's so real that we can't differentiate anymore. And it's pretty much here already. That we also will see people going back to the old stuff because it's just funny and iconic in a way.
100%. All right, folks, I think it's time to end on this. I will say in this week's Buzz, the only main thing that I wanted to give you an update for, and it's been down there at the bottom all this time, is that fullyconnected.com is our conference in San Francisco on June 18th and 19th. You have a promo code, and you can come and meet everybody from the Weights and Biases team, learn how to evaluate models, learn how to evaluate your LLM products as well, and talk to other folks who do this on production as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Wolfram, for sticking around with us with Jan. We had Nisten here before. We had Charlie Holtz. We had Linus Eckenstam. And I really enjoyed this time with you all as well. I apologize for technical issues if in the beginning. Next week, I will say, finally, I meet Jan face-to-face, and we're going to do something similar to this from San Francisco, from the biggest AI conference in the world of AI engineering called AI Engineer World's Fair. So I'm very much looking forward to next week as well. Meanwhile, thank you so much for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, everything is available at ThursdAI.news. And if any part of the show you couldn't hear as well, we're going to record everything. It's going to be in the podcast as well. So a podcast and a newsletter with all the links and things we talked about is going to get edited next. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to go enjoy the conference. I will tell you next week how it went and how my keynote went. Yeah, next week we'll have more guests on the show. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.